I kind of have punch you in the face advice. Okay. So my punch you in the face advice is to wrap up all of your commitments, sell your car, quit your job, and buy a one-way ticket to somewhere.
Rob, can you relate?
Yeah, but I would also say buy a fake return flight so they don't give you shit at the immigration line.
The little hacks.
Yeah.
The reason why a lot of people who are entrepreneurs come here to live is because it's easy. You know, if you talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, is you need to have food, shelter, comfort, companionship solved. And when we're living in the Western world, we go and work 40 hours a week or more just to go solve these basic points: food, shelter, companionship, whatever. Safety and such. But over here, it's relatively inexpensive to live. It's easy to get around. It's easy to live. You can rent an apartment for very, very expensive. You can eat well. There's like-minded communities of people. So all of your energy and all of that edge that you're putting isn't into trying to survive and take care of your basic needs. Rather, it's put into developing the higher things that you're working on, your entrepreneur projects, or things that you're working on for your higher self.
Right. Yeah, totally. I get it. It's the same way in Bali. Same thing. I guess, like, how old were you when you actually came to Thailand?
24 or something like
24.
that. Yeah, 24.
So
I'm an old man now.
Not really. But a lot of people think that, like, if you're, maybe you're a little younger like that, maybe I think a lot of people don't have the nerve to actually separate themselves, from their families at a younger age.
What the hell are you gonna lose?
Yeah, there's nothing to lose.
So I mean, I'll tell you how I got here, and I didn't start in Thailand, but this is where I ended up. I was living in California in Santa Cruz. I had a pretty good thing going on, and I was surfing all the time. And I was renting a house kind of down by the beach, and my neighbor, he was like a version of me, but plus 20 years. Like, he owned his own house, he had a beautiful family, a dog, and everything. I go and surf with him sometimes. And I had a moment where my entire life flashed before my eyes in a good way, not in a bad way, where I realized, like, that's a path. And if I stay on this path, I'm gonna be like him, which is fine. He had a beautiful life.
I understand.
But just in the fact of knowing the path and knowing where it leads, it became finished to me. There was almost like, what else would I didn't need to do it anymore.
Yeah, it's like you quantum leaped ahead to that moment in your life, and you're like, okay, I've done that now.
I've done that.
I've done that. Let's see a different path now.
And so I think for myself as a traveler and an entrepreneur is I always take, unless I'm trying to, like, meet some needs or make some money, but when I'm going an adventure, I'm always taking the path that I don't know what's going to happen. Because as soon as I know what's going to happen, and for me, it's done in my mind. It's like, okay, well, I've experienced that. I know that. I can feel that. But let's go and ride that point break, and ride that edge to find the experience that we don't know, that we haven't felt before.
So you're kind of a natural-born adventurer, set out to just experience new things.
Well,
that's from a pretty young age, though, I would say.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have to ask ourselves, the inherent question: why are we here? Mm-hmm. Like, why are we here? And
where did that question lead you to then?
We're here for nothing. We're no reason at all. But once you understand that we're here for no reason at all, we have the total, complete freedom to craft our life as we want it. It's like we don't have.
You think you can craft reason and purpose into your life then?
Yes, and it's all real.
Okay.
I mean, some people, they take some philosophy, some ideology, some cause, and it becomes real to them, and then it's real.
Does that mean that at one point you had no purpose or no reason, and then you realize that, and you're like, I'm going to develop my life until I actually have some
You
purpose?
literally have to be an artist with your own life.
Yeah.
Because there's two types of people in the world. There's people that create dreams, including their own dream. They're painters. They're painting the landscape and they're painting the reality. And then there's people who just fall into other people's dreams. So at some point, as men and women who are seeking knowledge, we have to decide are we actively creating our own dream, or are we just fulfilling a speaking role in somebody else's dream?
Yeah, and I think most of the time that's what it is until it's too late, you know. And they say there was a study that was done. It was about these I don't know how many dozens, maybe even hundreds of people. It was from a nurse, I believe, and she studied what the dying remarks were from all these people in these nursing homes. So they were about to pass away, and they started telling their stories and about their regrets and things like that. And one of the common themes, I think there was like 4 major regrets that people had. One of them was not living their own life and modeling their lives after what somebody else expected of them. That was like a dying regret.
Yeah.
Pretty significant. You know?
Yeah, because it's a lot of people, and I mean, I can't knock it because, you know, people are going to do what they do, and people have their reasons, and you can't change people's karma, but you can point to a path, and maybe they'll take that.
When you were 24 years old, did you believe in karma back then?
I still have, but I remember back then, I had an insatiable thirst for knowledge. Yeah. I knew one thing for certain. And that one thing is that there was a lot that I did not know.
Yeah. And that's probably still true.
It's still true. I've learned how to work it a little bit better in life.
Yeah.
I've learned how to work it where it's like, even though I don't know, I can kind of like, I know some boundaries that can work, and I can go ahead and make it through. But yeah, so I had an insatiable search for knowledge, and I always went by the basic tenet that only believe things that I can verify for myself. Let's go over here. So just because somebody says something, or just because I read something, doesn't mean that thing's true. Do you want to go up to the stairs to the temple?
Yeah, where is that?
It's just like a few minutes right up the road. Usually in Thailand, the temples are all built on top of the hill. And then what happens is every morning at dawn, all the monks will actually come out of the temple and walk through the neighborhood surrounding the temple, and with a big bowl. And then the people will come out, all the villagers will come out and give the monks food or supplies or whatever they need.
Right.
Now, you know, obviously there's some deviance, but the way that it's set up is the monks are actually completely at the service and at the mercy of the villagers around them. So if nobody goes and gives them food in the morning, they don't eat.
Yeah. And they only eat once a day as well, right?
Yeah, I don't know the exact technical of it. I'm not an expert in.
Yeah, from what I've heard, they only eat like once per day, and it's only that food that's given to them.
Yeah.
They're the original intermittent fasters.
They're the original intermittent fasters. You know, I will tell you that the only time I've had like a really good six-pack in my life is when I was actually living at a monastery, meditating for 8 hours a day.
Really?
Yes, it was quite funny.
So we want to go up here.
Yeah, let's go up these steps. These things are pretty
cool.
Yeah.
So so you're 24 years old. You decide, you hop on a plane, and you go where?
I bought a one-way ticket to India first.
So you're one-way ticket.
I literally was like, I went and saved some money. I did some pretty good, and
Rob and I, by the way, we've talked a lot about the idea, this idea that like the path to ultimate freedom begins with a one-way ticket.
Well, what is not a one-way ticket? I think it's illusion.
Round trip.
Because most people, when they go on a trip, they buy a round trip ticket.
Right, they have intentions of going back.
Yeah.
So our intention is to go and not come back.
Have that freedom to go wherever you want next.
It's in like that whole big window opens up to
it's
the unknown, you know?
Well, the funny thing is everything in life is a one-way ticket. And it's actually our kind of arbitrary beliefs that we place on things to believe that we have a round trip ticket. No matter what we do, we're never going back to where we were before. But the way to achieve consistent, I don't know the exact word, efficiency. What's it called when an engine's running really clean and smooth, like in prime form? Like you got a nice motorcycle and it's like, what's that called?
Peak performance.
Peak performance is, the way I look at life is like this. We're surfers. We cannot control the waves. But a good surfer can study the ocean, he can read the waves, and he can be in the right spot when the wave comes in.
Cool. It's a nice little
temple.
So you believe that you're designing your own reality, though?
I don't believe that anything's real except what we make real. And when we make it real,
perceptions, or
no, when we make it real, it becomes real. Like there's no joke in that.
is that in like envisioning something or perceiving something? You're creatively creating, or just perceiving the reality?
Well, creation is a.
This is a deep one.
Creation is a subtle thing because, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God. There's a lot, all sort of religious theism aside, those words are very powerful. Is you create it, and you create a golem, and you breathe life into that golem, and then it becomes a thing, and then it battles into the world.
So let's go back to your story. So you hop on a plane and you go to.
Howdy hop.
Hi. And you go to, where's your first destination?
Well, I heard about, I always go big. So I've only been traveling a little bit, but I was getting into India. I was getting into the mythology, the gods, the culture. And I was very fascinated by it, right? So I read about this festival that happens only once every 12 years. It's a certain date every 12 years where all the planets align. And where 3 rivers in India, the Ganges, the Yamunu, I'm saying it wrong, I'm sorry, and the Saraswati, they all converge. This one little spot in the river apparently turns to nectar, and whoever bathes in that spot in the river will achieve immortality. So every 12 years, 30 million people, Hindus, will go to that one spot and bathe in the river. So I was like, fuck yeah. Excuse my language. Are we allowed to swear here?
Yeah.
Okay, fuck yeah. I was like, don't you want to go to
twice? Jeez.
Oh yeah. No more sorry. Like, don't you want to go to the festival that happens every 12 years where that one little spot in the river turns to nectar? Real, false, whatever. If it has 1 billion people with the power of belief in that, it was a big party. It was awesome.
Interesting. Did you make it back to the next one 12 years later?
I did.
Did you really?
I went in 2001 and I went again in 2013.
I think that's the big tell right there, whether you actually got something out of the first round.
No, and it was absolutely fantastic. But
so you stayed there for a while?
I stayed in India for a while. And
Did you love India?
I love India.
Would you live in India?
Not right now.
Not your first choice?
No, India for me is. It's a place to shed things.
So what is the movie, Rob? Eat, Pray, Love, right? The Julia Roberts movie. She went to India, right? Wasn't that one of her locations? That's her pray location.
Was that the pray location?
Yeah, that's where she went to pray. She stayed there for months or whatever.
It was Italy.
It was Italy, and of course, love.
Was it Bali?
Bali.
Oh, it was Bali. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, India
Is that why you bought a Land Cruiser? So you could be
No, but I just watched that movie
dream.
recently, and I realized that's almost the same exact Land Cruiser that I have, though. But I didn't remember that from seeing that movie.
I know, it was like subconsciously.
Maybe subconsciously, I wanted to be that
woman to be like, you're my dream.
Maybe. There's a lot of love to be had in Bali. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's an amazing place. So now we're in Chiang Mai. So you then went directly to Thailand from there?
I lived in Argentina. I've been all over the place. But
okay. Then how long did it take you to finally settle into a place? A little bit of a nomadic
I came to the little village. It's not quite in Chiang Mai. It's a little bit outside of Chiang Mai where I live. I just decided this was my home.
Did you like fall in love with it? Did you have that moment where you came here and like,
I was like, I feel like
home here?
For whatever it is, growing up in the West, I mean, it's fine. I like the West, but
yeah.
I never necessarily felt like, when I sit here?
Yeah, it's fine.
I never necessarily felt like I was at home. I always felt like I was competing. And
yeah.
a lot of people ask me like, why why over here? Why Thailand? What do you love about it here? And it's like, I love the Thai people, I love the Thai culture, but the reason why I stay, there's a lot of places that I love.
Yeah.
The reason why I stay here is when I'm in America, for good or bad, I'm water in a larger ocean. I'm part of an unconscious energy flow there. I'm in a pyramid. I'm part of an entire flow. I'm in a culture. I'm one of the people. Now over here in Thailand, it's a very unique place where nobody cares about me. I'm an introvert. I am literally.
I care about you.
You care about me. I am literally in my own bubble. I'm literally completely alone, and I'm an island in the world. You know, I'm polite. I pay my bill. I have good relations with my neighbors. They don't care about me. It's like more than, you know, just basic human caring. So being an introvert and needing that mental space, I'm alone and I can do my work.
So one of the, back to that, the study, the centennial study of, I think it's called Blue Zones or something. Actually, we're not back. This is a separate subject from before. There's a book called, I think it's called Blue Zones, right? Have you heard that or read that? It's these different areas around the world that where they have like a much higher percentage of people who live to be 100 years or older.
Okay.
I haven't heard of that book.
Oh, really? It's really interesting. So they go to each one, they do a long study, and they go study each one of these little villages or cities or locations, whatever, and they find the similarities between each one of these where the circles kind of like come together, and they find the overlapping.
They all eat asparagus.
Something like that, right? So you know, they all eat like nuts, a handful of nuts every day, for example. And one of the key things that they talk about are they all have community, a sense of purpose. They all do have exercise as part of their life, not something that they do for you know, to entertain themselves.
They walk in the mountains to get somewhere.
Yeah, they're gardeners, and they're down like this every day pulling out weeds, and they're using their major muscle groups on a daily basis, even when they're 80 years old, because everybody has to pull their weight. But anyway, we're talking about community here. And when something goes wrong, you have community, you have people, you have a family, or just this extended community that are there for you. A lot of families, in fact, in Asia, the grandchildren, the children, the parents, and the grandparents, and sometimes the great-grandparents are all living in the same compound. And so they have this built-in sense of community that's very, very strong, and it keeps them strong.
They're a singular unit. A lot of people don't live for themselves. They live for their unit.
Yes, very much. So if they go out and get a job, that money comes back to the unit. So for you, you're saying that you're a bit of an island here. So what about that? Do you feel like that's an issue for you? Do you still have community here? Do you still have your friends and, you know?
All of my friends here, we're all the same. We're all introverts. Okay. I've found, and if you really, past, you know, the cursory stuff, if you really look at the people who live in places like this long term, we're generally introverts. And because the difference between an introvert and an extrovert is an introvert gets his or her power from essentially being alone, and then they go out into the world and then, you know, they share it.
So it doesn't mean that you're not out there.
No, I'm out there.
Yeah, not out there like connecting with people.
But I don't need. This is just me. I don't need external input to get what I need.
Do you excel?
I just need to get everything out of my way and focus on what I already have.
And this is how you excel.
This is how I excel.
Yeah, same here. So if I really want to excel, push everybody out. Yeah. Focus on. And then just come out with a nice cake. Here's my cake. Yeah. You like enjoy the cake. It's that creative process, and some people will create as a group, but for me, I typically create alone. Or you'll find one or two people where you create a dance together where you're creating, but typically that's hard to do. You gotta find somebody else that's just like you know. Well, we have everything we need inside of ourselves, and I think a lot of entrepreneurs, I think they get in deathly down spirals because they start chasing rabbits all over the place. Like, oh, this guy did this. Oh, this guy's really cool. He may make all this money. We got to follow him. None of these people matter. Essentially, we have most of the things that we need. Anybody who's listening to this who's an entrepreneur or wants to be an entrepreneur, you likely have all of the information you need already to do that. What about inspiration? Because a lot of times something that you create will be sparked from inspiration from someone else. But it comes. And then you generate from that your own life, but it's your own.
Yeah,
but it comes from a place of inspiration.
Yeah. Inspire, borrow. It's all part of it.
Yeah, like when we run ads, I mean, we'll run $1 million ad, and it may be sparked or inspired from somebody else's shitty ad. I mean, maybe it's has a little, little piece of genius in it, and it may not be perfect.
With all of our students.
And we share with all our students.
And they all run a variation.
This is $20 million.
I used to play a lot of classical and Spanish guitar.
Oh yeah.
And what I would do is I would learn how to play like finger pick Bach on the classical guitar, right? But then I'd go take those basic chord structures and notes, and I'd go onto an electric guitar, and I'd make like a rock song, and nobody would have any idea.
Really?
Yeah. But that's the point.
You wonder how much music that's been created is just exactly that.
Yeah, you're just bringing everything together.
Something like 80% of all the popular songs out there are the same
chords.
Yeah. 1-4-5 for that's the blues. But
But I think so too. I've taken the same exact song, the same exact chord structure, where I've written one song and then just changed the tune and the words and make a completely different song. You would never know that it's the same chord progression.
Go on YouTube sometime, and I forget what it's called, but they basically take all this popular music that uses the same chords, and they do a mashup of like 100 different songs.
I just keep playing the same chords.
Go right through all of them, and it's seamless.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Okay, so you like to be alone. You don't really. So if you get, God forbid, you get sick or something like that, or if you have a breakup or something and you're like down and depressed, do you have somebody to turn to when you're here?
Oh, I got people.
Okay, so introvert does not mean you don't have people.
I'm not like a mean old man on the mountain. It's just my mental. There's people around. It's just my mental creative space.
So you find it that it's easier to get into that zone here in Thailand?
There's something,
America?
and I don't understand what it is. I maybe if somebody else knows, they can tell us. But when I'm in America, even if I'm like alone in a cabin in the woods, I'm still energetically connected to that collective consciousness.
Yeah, you feel the pressure.
And that collective, I feel the pressure of that collective consciousness. When I'm here, I think something and it's clear and I do it and it works. When I'm in America, I'm confused and I kind of try something and then it doesn't work. So it's like I have kryptonite on me over there and I don't know why.
I understand. One of the
an average dude struggling. I don't want to be an average dude struggling. I want to be like a Superman. I want to just think something and it happens.
Yeah, and that happens for you here.
It happens.
So you get into your energetic flow.
There's some astrology here that I don't understand.
Well, let me throw this at you and see if this might be it. So right now, we were in the city. We hopped on our motorcycles and we drove for 10 minutes?
Yeah.
And we landed in front of a beautiful waterfall.
Yeah.
And we're surrounded by trees and mountains. Okay.
Yeah. We're sitting on top of a temple.
Yeah, we're sitting on the temple. Yeah. Well, there's an argument or a belief that. And then maybe a little bit of science behind it, that nature puts us into a creative state.
For some.
I think there is some science to it too, but I forget what it is. So would you say, this is I would say Chiang Mai is known
But I
for
can get it going in Bangkok too, which is a metropolis.
Okay.
It's bigger than where I come from in America.
Interesting.
Is there something about the collective consciousness which just lets me soar, and I don't know what it is.
Or, let's say perhaps you have broke free from that feeling that you had somehow developed across your life, the span of your early life, where you felt like you were like this.
Yeah.
And when you took that leap and you got on a plane and said, I'm going to go find freedom, and you go and you severed, and then now you're in a state that you created for yourself.
Yeah, it's my own thing.
Maybe, or it could be here. Maybe it's just because I felt it too.
Weird astrology. Who knows? It's things we don't understand. It's like we talked about earlier. It's like the one thing I know for certain is like I don't know everything. There's a lot of things I don't understand.
Well, let me. I'll tell you another thing from my point of view. Okay, from my experience, right? So Bali has a lot it lot of same effect for me. Yeah. Like I am in my flow state.
Everybody has their place.
Call it. Yeah. I get it here too. I get it while I'm traveling around Asia. But I will say that there's so many beautiful places out in nature that where I just get turned on, plugged into creativity. One of the measuring sticks that I will use is like I play and I write music on ukulele.
So how does it flow?
Yeah, if it flows for me, then I know that I'm in the right place. So I can be out in a sea of rice fields, out in Tagalog along Ubud, and I'm feeling like good. But if I go into my jungle villa, which when I walk into that place, it feels like it has a like a heartbeat, and it breathes and it's alive. This place is amazing. And there, my creativity just flows like water. It's amazing, amazing. So, I mean, they're only 5 minutes apart from each other, you know? So I'm just kind of curious, like what your feelings are, I mean, about that. So it's, maybe it could be nature, it could be you, something that you created for yourself. It could be a collective thing, you know, just because of the, the region or the...
It's what works. And, you know, there's, I know the popular dominant paradigm right now, you know, with like the internet, and there's always a guy explaining things. Always a guy explaining how things work. And it's like this. And it's like, the only thing that works is what a woman or a man finds that works for themselves. And it's hard to find something that works. So if you find, or if I find, or if anybody finds something that works, hold flipping onto that and don't let that go, because that's your flow, that's your wave.
Yeah.
And if you keep on that, you're gonna get to where you want to be.
But let's dig a little deeper here, though. So, you know a few people in Thailand. I mean, you've been here for what, 15 years? So you've had people come and go, friends, from America, from Western cultures that come here and kind of hang out with you for a while, then they're gone. Some of them come and stay for a while,
some stay,
some stay forever. So of those people, would you say that other people that you've encountered here are experiencing a similar sort of breakthrough on that, getting into that creative flow by being here, or you feel like this is just your own thing?
I think the answer is the people that stay and the ones that are brave. Sometimes some people feel it and aren't brave, so they go back. But the people that stay and get it, they get it. And the people that come who don't feel it, it's not for them.
Yeah.
It's like maybe they need to be in Argentina or Patagonia. Maybe that's their place. For knowledge, and my quest was so strong inside of myself. You know, there's an old saying from the Hagakure, the book of the samurai, that when a samurai goes to battle, he is already dead. He is in fact fighting for his life, to get his life back. So, there's an old quote from Zen Buddhism. What is it? In order to succeed at Zen, one needs to have great doubt, great determination, and great faith. So I literally broke my rice bowl. I went into battle and I broke my rice bowl. If I didn't win at my battle, I was going to die. And I think those are the people that succeed at whatever they do, is they go so hard and they go so deep that they literally don't have a round trip ticket. And those are the people that succeed, whether it be entrepreneurism or, you know, the ultimate goal of finding happiness in our life is, I did not have another option. My old life in America, it was just dead. It was just like an empty shell. It was like I was just gonna go create some disease and kill myself. You know, it was like just to like get out of it.
And some people have to do that. That you have to burn the boats, or you're gonna turn around and sail home.
I literally burned my boats, and because I knew I didn't have another choice. It wasn't like me being brave. It was like that. It was the world behind me was just empty. You know, so
we're talking about a feeling, right?
Yeah, it's a feeling. I mean, there's nothing wrong with America. It's fine. But for me, it was just like my soul, or whatever you want to call it, is just already gone, and I had to go chase my soul.
So you feel empty, and like you're on a quest to like find yourself, maybe.
I hate to say find yourself. That's such an awful stereotypical term, but
to put it in terms that maybe like everyone can understand a little better. Maybe one way. Do you feel like you were alone in that, or you feel like everybody has something more to find, something? I'm just like putting this in perspective of the people who might be in our audience, you know, like listening to this and maybe trying to understand where you're coming from, or where this 24-year-old kid who left, the state of mind that you were in, you know, can they relate to this? You know, is this something that could traveling overseas to Thailand or to India, do you think it would make a big difference in everyone's life? Or
I think that not everybody hears the call. And if you haven't heard the call, there's no reason to go. I mean, sure, go for vacation, whatever. Yeah. But if somebody hears the call, and if you hear the call, you know you've heard it. You're hearing it right now.
I remember when I did.
If you hear the call, and you don't respond to that call, then you're doing yourself not even a disservice. You have to follow that call. You have to do it. There's no choice, because that's where your soul is calling you. It's like your soul has left your body, and now you have to go get her.
Interesting.
You want to be soulless.
Unless you want to be soulless. If you want to go through it like that.
Like most people.
No, people have their struggles, and everybody has, we don't understand the struggles and the turmoil that a lot of people go through inside, whether it be things that happen in their life or just internal things that they never talk about. Everybody has their own fight. Yeah. And so when relating to other people, I always keep that in mind, that, even though I don't know anything about this person, they've gone through some shit. And I just, to always allow people to go on their own journey without judgment.
Empathy. So let me ask you another question.
Empathy.
Okay, let me ask you another question. What is the biggest benefit in life that you have achieved merely by getting on the plane and coming over here? Like, what would you have missed out on had you not done it? The biggest thing.
I don't even know how to answer that. Like, this is my life. Like, that life over there, that cassette tape, that you put it in, you go and climb the corporate ladder. I'd probably, if I did the whole American thing, I'd probably actually have more money than I did now. I'd probably be founder of some great startup or whatever. But who cares? Like literally, who cares? I want to live my life exactly how I want to live it on my terms, and if I'm not harming anybody, then that's great.
So on that note, just to kind of circle back around, you think that perhaps you could have been more financially set there?
But this is actually something interesting to talk about.
Yes.
Because is more money better?
Okay. Without answering that question, I would.
And I have a lot of money, and so do you.
Yeah.
So it's kind of kind of sounds funny us talking about it, but money is fantastic. I love money. Okay, and if anybody has a problem with money or they're like offended about money, they're never going to succeed. They should just give up now. But money is it's not our goal. It's a vehicle to get us to where we want to go. But if we have enough money to get to where we need to go, do we want to go and stop being where we are so we can go back and try to accumulate an arbitrary number more?
Right.
And it's kind of high-level entrepreneur thinking.
But let me ask you a specific question that maybe some of our visitors, our audience may be wondering, though. Is that to say that you can't make money as a Westerner in Asia?
Oh yeah, you can do anything you want. I remember.
Is there something specific that's preventing you from achieving the same level of success?
Well, I'll tell you what happened is I was here, and I set a couple ground rules for my creation. It was like, I want to stay here in northern Thailand. This is where I want to live. Mm-hmm. I don't want to do anything shady or illegal, and I want to make a damn good amount of money. I started with that. I was like, what do I do? I was like, okay, I could be a writer. Like, okay, probably not going to make a lot of money anytime soon.
I started out as an artist.
Yeah. I was like, I might, who knows, but it's it's not necessarily. And then I started looking around. Then I came into what I did. I was like, oh, that's it. That's how I do it. And then I burned the midnight oil.
How would you describe in a very short couple sentences what it is that you do?
In terms of what?
In making money, your career.
I just create things that
people need.
It's great things. I don't
bringing value and getting paid.
Okay. So, and what I specifically do, it's relevant, but it's not relevant for the sake of this conversation. Mm-hmm. Is any sort of successful entrepreneur or visionary? They're not going and creating the waves in the ocean. What they're doing is they're reading the waves. And they're going and placing themselves where the wave is coming. So when an entrepreneur goes and thinks about an idea or a concept that they want to implement, they need to ask themselves, if I do not do this, is this going to be inevitable no matter what? Is this going to happen whether I do it or not? And self-driving cars. Yes, it's going to happen, right? There's no way that's not going to happen. So if the answer is, even if I don't do this, this will happen eventually, you have a damn good idea. If your answer is, if I don't do this, nobody cares, it's probably not the best idea. Now that doesn't mean it won't succeed, but you have to
change the world.
You have to look as we're just like little plankton in the ocean, and we need to go and find the jet streams and follow those.
But then again, you have people like, well, I don't know, maybe they would have happened, but like Steve Jobs and those guys who create.
No.
Like maybe
the
computer was bound to happen.
No, it was bound to happen. What Steve Jobs did, it was he went and created it as a beautiful, refined experience.
No.
And so it's not, I mean, it's not saying like, lower yourself and saying, but just you have to look at the trends. It's like, are these things bound to happen? If the answer is yes, then you're on the right track.
Okay, so let's come back to that question again. So you can you or can you not really succeed financially in Thailand?
I know I could probably count off 50 people's names right now who are doing extremely well, and they all started out with the same story. They showed up here with a backpack and a dream. And those people are making anywhere from $5,000 to a couple $100,000 a month. I can literally think of 50 people right now.
Can you think of any benefits to being here for your business?
Well, in terms of the fact that we can focus here, it's a focalized environment where it's all the Westerners around you are doing the same thing. So you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people. It's like before we went and met, I went to a coffee shop to go interview 2 people for some certain things, and then I saw my friends at that coffee shop who were working on a webinar script, and I went ahead and talked to them about their webinar script. And it's just like, this is a community, and it's a community that goes and helps each other. So yes, and it can be Thailand, it can be Bali, it can be anywhere. It doesn't matter. In terms of, it's the fact that it comes back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Our needs are solved here. We don't have to struggle to pay our rent. We can live on $600 a month.
So
it'd be fine.
If you were on a shoestring
budget, and you had $10,000 in the bank, would you rather?
It's a year. That's a year here.
Would you rather be in America trying to do a startup or some kind of business, or would you rather be here?
Well, I mean, it just depends what sort of infrastructure you want. If your startup is highly dependent on the on the infrastructure of a community in America, then you need to be there.
Let's say that you were trying to shoestring your way to financial freedom.
But if you want to open up like a Foot Locker franchise,
you have to be in America.
You have to be in Minneapolis or something.
Let's look at it this way. You have $10,000 in the bank. That $10,000, you could literally rent an apartment here in Thailand. You could do absolutely nothing but play video games for an entire year. Okay? And you'll be absolutely fine. You'll have food, you'll have shelter, you have a little motorcycle or a bicycle to get around, you'll have friends. $10,000 in America, you're living on your mom's couch. And your mom better like you. You can't even afford to barely go out at all. So, and there'd be pressure on you to do things. The point is, you get your basic needs met here, and then you have 40 hours a week. It doesn't have to work on your hustle. It doesn't have to be your side hustle. It's your hustle.
What about delegating?
Oh, this is really interesting. We probably, my philosophy on delegation, all the dominant YouTube 4-hour workweek paradigm disagrees with this, but I know what works for me, is I do everything myself at first in my business that I can. This doesn't mean I'm going and doing PHP coding, but I'm doing my support desk. I'm doing absolutely everything. I don't hire out anybody until I know that thing good enough that I can effectively. It doesn't mean I need to go become an expert at holding a camera or videography. It doesn't matter. But I need to know enough about what's going on that I can effectively manage who's doing that job.
So like your support station, for example, you do support for a while.
Oh yeah,
until you get it.
I'm like.
And then you hire.
I mean, we make a ton of money, but I'm sitting there answering the tickets myself. Yeah. I'm sitting there. I'm going and helping them set stuff up myself. Until because if you're doing customer service training, that's how you learn your customers and what they're going through.
So do you find it easier or harder to hire and delegate while you're here in Thailand?
It's fine. I think people here. And I don't just hire people here in Thailand. I hire people in a lot of different places in America, UK, or stuff. people here, they're all entrepreneurs, so they have a different mindset than a salaryman. So if I want a long-term salaried, consistent person, I'm usually not going to hire somebody from here. I'm going to hire somebody from America.
Yeah.
It's fine because they're like happy. They're like, I'm making $4,000 a month. Wake up in the morning, I do this, and then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. If I need somebody who's like going to be like, do some like stuff out of the box and wants to work on something and get excited, yeah, I'll find them here.
Cool.
But they're entrepreneurs, so they're not salarymen. It's like
It's like herding cats.
Yeah. You have to ask yourself: are you an entrepreneur or are you a salaryman?
Yeah,
salary woman.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's nothing wrong with being a salaryman. Some people they try to be entrepreneurs.
For me, there would be something wrong.
No.
With it. If I felt
some people, I've met some people. They try to be entrepreneurs, and they're just literally not cut out for it.
Yeah, they're not happy.
They're not happy that they think they have to be because they watch some podcast like this.
Yeah.
And they're like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur, and they go and try to be an entrepreneur, and it's like,
it's just not working. After I was an entrepreneur for 13 years, finally I went and I met my family back in America, and my older brother, he's like in his 50s, 55 or something. He asked me, he's like, so what is it that you do exactly? He's like, you have some kind of business or something? And I was like, it's been 13 years for you to ask me this question. It's like, yeah, I have several businesses.
Don't try to explain.
Why would you want to have a business?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? I couldn't imagine. Hold on a second. I couldn't imagine not having a business. And then he's like, well, I was in the military for 20 years. I couldn't imagine having my own
military. I worked for the post office. I couldn't imagine having my own post office. I was like, are you kidding me? I would love to have my own army.
Was he stoned at the time?
No, I think he's watching this, so I would say he's always stoned.
Yeah, I would love to have my own army.
I would love to have my own army. No, but I mean, I got another question for you. So, what is the biggest hurdle that you've experienced by living overseas like this? Third world country, far away from home.
No Amazon.
That's a good one. Yeah. That's a really good one.
Yeah, sometimes I'll have stuff shipped to my family's house.
Yeah.
And like I'll just go to America and visit, and I'll like collect all of it and bring it back.
Like we literally hop on the plane to take shopping trips.
Yeah.
Here.
I mean, we don't need anything. I mean, like literally,
You know
we
what?
don't have everything. But sometimes you want like cool little stuff.
The irony
Yeah.
is how much stuff you sell on Amazon versus how much stuff you
You
buy.
don't have to be an American to sell on.
No, you don't. That's the irony of it. But you do need to be in America to buy on Amazon.
Okay, so let's say that there's somebody out there, to kind of wrap this up, somebody out there who's, I don't know, kind of been following for a while, or maybe they're interested in maybe taking the plunge, or just coming over and visiting, or maybe even kind of following your footsteps. Mm-hmm. What would you say to that person now to guide them, or?
Well, I kind of have punch you in the face advice. So my punch you in the face advice is to wrap up all of your commitments, sell your car, quit your job, and buy a one-way ticket to somewhere.
Rob, can you relate?
Yeah, but I would also say buy a fake return flight so they don't give you shit at the immigration line.
The little hacks.
Yeah. $7 online.
I mean, but from true.
I I
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, literally.
I might be biased because that's exactly what I did too.
I remember your story. Like, I just sold everything. I took everything out of storage.
Nobody, unless you go and pull it out and slap it on the table, you're not going to succeed.
Slap what on the table?
Anyway, we'll leave it at that. That's how you succeed.
So let me ask you another question.
Burn your boats.
Somebody's out there and they really want to. I'll reframe this.
Mm-hmm.
I spent several years. I wasn't 24 to hop on a plane and just burn my boat.
Yeah, some people can't do it. I understand that.
But I did do
life
it.
happens.
I did do it though, and it was partly because life happened. Prevented me from doing it when I wanted to. But it took me a series of walking up to the cliff, looking over, and like, okay, hold on.
Do you think you created crises in your life to enable you to be able to do this?
To do this?
Because a lot of people when they have a soul desire like that. But, obviously I understand what it's like to be back in the old country and like have commitments and family and this. You have an anchor around your neck. And what I've found that people that are they hear the call, they go and create crises in their life, which may seem like disasters, to get that anchor off of their neck.
Yeah, I did that, and I, you know, it's hard to admit that, because you kind of use that as a, you know, as an excuse to say, okay, now all my I'm freed up now I can go follow I can pursue my dream, you know? But you don't want to say, like, if you're in a marriage and you get a divorce, that you created this crisis, but yet you celebrate it.
Call it whatever you want.
So you think there's a lot of people out there who probably have these anchors, things that are preventing them.
And I respect that. I mean, I respect family. It's just
right. Yeah.
Sometimes people are in very difficult situations.
Yeah.
And they find an exit, one way or the other.
I know lots of people that travel with their families.
Yeah. There's definitely some people who do.
Yeah. I mean, everybody has a different situation. No situation's unique. Yeah. Not everybody's weirdos who live up in the jungle like us. You know, like alone. You know. All right, thank you very much, and thanks for coming to Thailand with us. Awesome.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
All right, let's go.
A few more days, we should go out, and we got a couple things planned tonight.
Let's go get a snack or something.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
You are probably going to ride a motorcycle if you come to Asia. If you drive taxis, Ubers, Grab, or have a private driver, it's going to take you twice as long to do anything than it would if you just hop on a little scoopy and jet down the road. And then when you finally do it, you're going to realize that this is amazing. I had a friend like 8 years ago, a business partner of mine, who said, like, if you want to get laid in Bali, you need to have a cool scooter. You know? I was like,